Hello, people. It's Rabbi Shmuel Pollen. You are in the right place. This is the Light Unto the Nations show. And as always, I will remind you we need more people buying this book, folks. We need more people buying this book. All in for God. This will dispel all your doubts about God, religion, and the Bible. Please get the book at allinforgod.com. That's allinforgod.com. We're going to talk today about happiness. How can you be happy every single day of your life, and every single hour of your life, and every single second of your life? Is it possible? So let's just think about it. What is sadness and frustration and hate? What is it? It's when you don't get what you want. Something happens in the world, and I'm going to say that's God making it happen in the world. It's the source of creation, making it happen in the world. And it's doing this, and you want this. Or it's doing this, and you want this. So you got a present, and it wasn't what you wanted. You got in your car and looked for a parking space, and you couldn't find a parking space. So what you wanted did not match up with what you got. That's the sole reason for being unhappy. That's the only thing there is. You not getting what you want, more accurately saying that what you are getting is not what you are getting from God is not what you want. There's a mismatch. So what can you do about that? The answer is humility. If you are humble and you realize that what God does is for the good, God has my best intentions in mind, you can switch your agenda to match up with God. Say, this gift that I got, I actually do want this gift. This is actually the right gift for me because this is what God wants for me. When God's over here, you move down here and you get yourself wanting what God sends down to you. So change what you want, and then you're doing exactly what He wants. And you could say, I'm running late, and this is exactly what I want. How is it exactly what I want? That's a question for later. But say to yourself, this running late is exactly what I want. This is perfect. So whenever anything happens, you should say to yourself, this is exactly what I want. It's perfect. Now, how is it perfect? What's the logic behind it? How can we possibly say that the gift that we didn't want is really what we wanted, and running late and not finding a parking space is what we really wanted? Well, there are several answers. You don't need answers. You just need to tell yourself that it's perfect. Tell yourself that's what you want. But there are answers that it makes you stronger, teaches you a lesson, it makes for a good story, it makes for a good game or competition. You're sort of competing with God and seeing if you can find a parking space, even though there doesn't seem to be one. It's a game. It's a story. It's a story you can tell when you get home. Man, I had this serious situation where I needed to get into the building and I couldn't find a parking space. And I parked way over there and I had to run. It's a whole story. Now you have a story to tell. Now you have something to talk about. And it teaches me a lesson. If I get there earlier, maybe I'll be able to find a parking space more likely. So there is always something good in whatever happens. Story, game, lesson, stronger, makes me stronger. But you just have to say, this is perfect. Move yourself from where you are to where God is. Move yourself to what He is sending you and what you want. And when you reach this, when you have this, sorry, my hands are shaky, but when you reach this equilibrium, when you match up with God, that is where happiness lies. You will be happy. You will be happy in this situation when you have moved yourself down. Say, I don't really need that. I really need this. I really need what God wants me to have. This is what Joseph said when he said that God sent me down to Egypt. Really, his brothers, the Shvatim, the tribes, had sent him down to Egypt. They sold him down to Egypt. And he could have said, you sold me down to Egypt. Boo on you. You shouldn't have done that. But instead he said, I was sent to Egypt. In other words, I was sent by God to Egypt. He took himself what he thought he wanted, which was to be free, and then he was put into a jail, and then he decided that he wanted to be in the jail, and he actually made the best of the jail time, and he interpreted other people's dreams, and he got out, and he became the viceroy of Egypt. But it all came from God, and his success was in matching himself up to what God wanted, changing his desire to be God's desire. And that's what it means when it says that the righteous walked in the ways of God. They walked in the ways of God. That means that every step they took was the step that God wanted them to take, because they made that the step that God wanted them to take. Through humility, they made that step be God's step. They made their step be in line with what God wanted. And if you do this, you will always be happy. There is no other way to be happy, and there is no other way to be sad. It is all about getting what you want or not. And if you can change what you want, which you can, by saying, this is what I want, it's perfect. Whatever God has thrown at me is perfect. It's like Hasidic Jews always have done. They've always had the idea that no matter how much they suffer, it's what God wants, it's God's will. And then we have prayer, davening. Prayer is trying to get God to move up to where you are, or move down to where you are. It's trying to get God's will to change to your will, for him to move to you. It's amazing that he allows us to do this. We should be thankful for the privilege that we're able to pray. Who are we to tell God that his plan is not going right, that his plan is not the best thing for me, and I know what's the best thing for me? But he lets us do this. It's part of his grand master plan that we do this. It's part of the whole enchilada. It's part of the whole way life works, that he allows us to do this. So we can ask of God that he change his will. Yehi ratzon in Hebrew. May it be your will. We can actually ask God to change his will to be our will. And he will do it if you pray enough, and if you pray in a way that you actually really want it. If you really want it and you pray enough, you will get it. You don't need the law of attraction. That is idol worship. It is asking the universe to give you goodies, asking the universe to give you what you want. But the universe is not in control of what you want. You're worshiping something that's not actually in control. The creator of the universe is in control of what you want. The universe did not create himself and wasn't there forever. So it must have been created by something, and that something is God. That's the creator, the source of all existence. If you ask the source of all existence and you really want it and you pray enough, you will get the blessing. You have to align your whole self with that prayer. So if you're looking for a house, you got to actually go through Craigslist and the newspaper and speak to real estate agents. But you will find the best house for you if you pray for the house. If you're looking for a match, you're looking for a girlfriend or a boyfriend, which you should not really have a boyfriend or girlfriend. You should be looking for a husband or a wife. But if you are looking for one, God will help you find it easily if you pray and you really want it and you pray enough. So don't follow the law of attraction. Stick with good old-fashioned prayer. That will work. That will actually work. When you say Yehi Ratzon, may it be your will. We change God's will to match up with ours. He will, in most cases, allow us to change God's will. He has taken this into account for what he wants for history. He's taken into account the fact that you're going to pray, and he's going to answer your prayers. May all your prayers be answered. God bless.